This is interesting. Deebo Samuel just had the best season I've seen a skill position player have in a long time. He plays a very physical brand of football, kind of like George Kittle. I'm thinking Deebo Samuel played through a lot of stuff we didn't know about this year. Most football players do. Are you prepared to give this guy 20, 21, $22 million? And if you do, if the Niners do you expect him to play like this every year? What's your thought process?
Yeah, I am prepared to give him that money.
Mm-hmm.
I think, it's really easy to say, and I'm a Pistons fan, okay, for the NBA. So, it's weird. Okay. I'm a Pistons fan.
All right.
So it's really easy as a fan to sit here and say, well, you can't pay that player or don't pay that player. I used to say it so easily about the Pistons. Don't play Andre Drummond. He's not that good of a big. Well, you have to pay somebody. And if Andre Drummond, you drafted him and, he's become maybe the best player on your team and he's
still an asset.
A player worth keeping, well, you have to pay him because
he's still an asset.
You have to sell tickets. There's a business aspect to all of it. So to me, Deebo Samuel was a no-brainer. You pay him.
Also, if you pay Deebo and you can trade him. He's an asset. You don't just let the guy go. Same thing with Bosa.
By the way, I'm not comparing Deebo to Andre Drummond. I'm just comparing how easy it is to say, don't pay him.
I think the comparison is Kittle. We've seen this with Kittle. Kittle in 2018 played through about 18 injuries, never talked about it, was great. Then you get paid a ton of money, and all of a sudden, I just don't think you can do that anymore. It's like, it's not just human nature. It's like, it's the right. You have to protect your body.
Look, great. I think generally Deebo can't match this season. I think he was so historic in this season, even if he plays extremely well. I think this offseason, one of the biggest question marks defensive coordinators are going to answer is how do we stop Deebo Samuel? Right. And I think we're going to see a lot of creative plans to stop Deebo Samuel
pretty good yesterday the season. With the exception of one play.
Yeah, the Rams were phenomenal. And so I think they still absolutely have to pay him because to me, the 49ers offense has not found any solutions on how they're going to get this run game, pass game, everything going without number 19 on the field.
You saw what the offense looked like in the fourth quarter when he was basically not involved.
Not to mention we saw what it looked like when they played the one game without him. They played versus Seattle without him, right?
Also, you want to transition to Trey Lance and make life easy for him? How about you get rid of Deebo Samuel? Right. How's that going to go?
And it's going to make your run game more dynamic. So to me, it's a no-brainer. You pay him. To me,
But there is a little bit of trepidation, to use an awful word, right? Because you already know where this is going in a sense.
I think the only fear, right, with Deebo is going to be the injuries because even though he stayed healthy this season, he had a couple issues, niggles in his rookie year, and then he had obviously an entire injury-filled season in 2020. Now, I think the thing that's special about Deebo is he seems to be the kind of athlete, like Kittle is, that is very conscious about the fact that he has gotten injured and is very conscious about trying to not get injured.
Of course.
Now, I don't know if he can prevent it in any way. Sometimes I feel like athletes can just be unlucky. But Deebo is also a little bit of a freak where athletes his size don't usually move like him. He's 220 and he carries his weight and he plays a different physical style brand, but he's also 220 playing that physical style brand while being the most explosive football player on the field, which is a little shocking mix. So to me, I think he should get paid $20 million. To me, the Niners 2019 draft was an absolute home run. They drafted 2 franchise players, one in the first round, one in the second round. Nick Bosa is their franchise defensive player. Deebo Samuels is their franchise offensive player. They drafted him in the first round, in the second round. So to me, they absolutely have to pay him. It's a no-brainer. He had one of the most special seasons ever. But I do think there is a little bit of conversation.
I'm sure the Niners are concerned about it too. I'm sure they're thinking about it. I'm sure they're going to protect themselves a little bit. I don't know if they're going to make him the highest paid wide receiver in the league. They're going to find a way to be like, look, you're kind of a running back too. You had a little bit of you missed some time. 2020. I don't know how they're going to make him a little bit more affordable, but I bet they will. Do you think both of these deals, him and Bosa, get done before the season starts?
Before the season starts for sure. I think the Niners have to get those deals done soon so that they can see what their cap situation is going to be like.
Oh, you actually think it'll get done in the next couple of months?
Wow. I think so. I think especially Bosa. Bosa's deal to me is just he tells you how much he wants. It's probably going to be similar to what his brother got. It's going to be $30+ million. You need to know how you're going to fit that in with Trent Williams' contract, which is also there. And that's what kind of worries me. That's what kind of worries me with the Niners because they're going to transition because they've drafted so well and they've developed young players so well. They're going to transition to being a very top-heavy team naturally because they're going to have 7 players who are the highest paid players in their position. So. 7.
Kobe says if Lance took over after the Texans wins, we'd be on the way to the Super Bowl. Look,
I don't know
we'll
about
never
that.
know, but I've been really campaigning for him to start since that game, and I don't know, man. Ever since Garoppolo got hurt in Tennessee, I think he played. He had some good moments against LA, but essentially played poorly in this game, and I think he's been bad. Was that four games in a row? Was that 4 games in a row?
See,
No, 5 games in
yeah,
a row.
I don't know if
5
you
games in a
can
row.
guarantee that because it's not like, Lance has played promising, and we also throw in the caveat he's a rookie. He's so talented, all of that, but it's not like
It's hard to
Lance
say.
just played against the Texans and the Cardinals and just played like a
It's hard to
superstar
say.
quarterback,
But it
right?
would
He
have been
also had
interesting
his
if
ups
Kyle-
and downs.
It's true, but it would have been interesting if Kyle had been like, you know what, Jimmy's hurt. It's a very serious injury. He wants to play. I'm shutting him down. We're going with the kid. I know that's a scary move, and probably the locker room wasn't behind it, but it'd be interesting to know what would have been different. I mean, they won a game because of divine intervention in Green Bay. I still don't think that Jimmy was a big part in their last month. He did do nice things in November for sure, but I feel like it'd be interesting to know what would have happened if Kyle had just
Do you
made a
think,
very
I mean,
bold
the
decision
question is,
and
do you
Kyle
think, because
Jimmy's
look,
hurt.
I'm not saying Lance would have been, I'm not saying Lance is Sanchez, okay? I'm saying
Right.
Lance in this playoff run, to me, also, if you played him, would not have been a big part. To me, whoever played quarterback
That's
the way
exactly
the
what I'm
Niners were
saying.
winning games
It's
would not have been a big
Yep.
part, which is what Sanchez was for the Jets when they went to the playoffs. Though his playoff numbers are actually not
Good.
bad. His regular season numbers are terrible. His playoff numbers were actually not that bad. They won a
That's true.
lot of road playoff games. They
Did.
won at New England with
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez starting at quarterback.
That's right.
Pretty impressive. On
9
the road,
touchdowns,
in the
3
cold.
picks in 6 playoff
Yeah.
games. I was surprised.
And they were
I was surprised.
also the team that changed Chad Ochocinco back to Chad Johnson because Darrelle Revis did a little number on him. But
Yes.
the funny thing to me is that I don't know if you can guarantee he would have won, because to me, no matter what, the quarterback wasn't going to be a big part of why the 49ers won this year. But that's also why a lot of us said just start Trey Lance, because we know you're not a quarterback driven team. So just let the rookie play, because we don't feel
You're not a
that
quarterback driven team, and Jimmy still finds a way to lose games despite it not being about him. I'm sorry. That's where I'm going back to the negative thing. RWJ all day says next year Mostert, Mitchell, Kittle, Deebo, Brandon, and Trey Lance. You think Mostert's coming back? Is his knee cool?
I don't know. I think bringing Mostert back, Mostert would be a positive for the Niners. I'm not sure what a positive he is for other teams, but for the Niners, he's a massive positive. But at what point do you just say you can't rely upon him?
Haberman and Middlecoff, Niners are a team that doesn't shoot threes and only goes for twos in a 3-point shooting league. Jimmy limits the offense. I think that's a very good analogy. I think they are basically a team that is a mid-range shooting team in that sense. Okay, couple more.
I don't know if that's exactly fair, because they hit a lot of explosive in the run game. They hit a lot more explosives in the run game than other teams. And I mean, the middle of the field passing game is the bread and butter for 90% of teams in the NFL. So I don't know if it's exactly fair, honestly, to say that. I think Jimmy limits them in a lot of ways.